to another edition of The Preview. I'm Adam Kulikowski. I'll be your host, the one feeding all the questions to our expert, Andy Shea. On tap this week, we'll break down Carlisle's matchup against State College, Trinity's bout with Big Spring, and Redland's battle with Lower Dolphin. Mr. Shea, welcome. How are you today?
Red Land. You need to get up. We need to pause you for a second there, Adam. you need a pause in between it. Red Land. Don't lump them all together. But I'm doing good. Speaking of red, fire the cannons. Thursday night football. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. My Bucks are coming to town.
Where's the upset? Where's the upset, Mr. Shea?
The upset is 3/4 of our starting secondary won't be playing, and one of our two stud linebackers will not be playing. And I don't think Rob Gronkowski is going to play. So there's your hope. Although I think Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette, and Tom Brady and the entire offensive line is still playing. So I think there might be a problem there, but that's just my guess.
So rumor has it that you're going to this game though, right? You're going to be at the link.
I am going to the link as a Buccaneers fan. Yeah.
Did you get my care package to make sure that you get out safely with the armor and the battery packs and things like that to defend yourself?
Yeah, I'm going to be sitting behind the Buccaneers bench, but I'm not a loud fan. I'm going to, I thought about not wearing any of my thing. I'm not wearing like a jersey or anything. I just have a subtle sweatshirt that's very subtle that just says Buccaneers on it. And it's gray, so it kind of blends in. And it's kind of hard not when the game's going on. I'm just not going to sit there and not root for my team. So you're going to know. I'm not the guy screaming up going, yeah, baby, yeah. I'm not that guy. I'm not going to antagonize Eagles fans like that, but I'm definitely going to, be happy when my team has success. And
you're in a safe zone. Unlike the 700 level back at the old vet.
I wouldn't go there. So. I wouldn't go there. And I think you can be an opposing fan and be respectful.
I agree.
I respect the Eagles. I don't dislike the Eagles. I hate teams a lot more, AKA the Saints. But yeah, I'm going to be good. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah. Well, I hope it's a good game. And like I said, go Birds. Let's get started though. Let's get down. Let's take a trip on 322 West out to State College, where the Little Lions are going to play host to Carlisle on Friday. Andy, help us break this game down.
So this is a couple teams that are kind of at a little bit of a tipping point, right? They're both 4-3. Neither one of them wants to be 500 overall. There is more at stake, quote unquote, for Carlisle because pretty much State College's playoff, path is always clear, right? Mm-hmm. So Thundering Herd are going to make a road trip. That is important to know in this game. I think State College's quarterback, Finn Fermanek, he was out against Cumberland Valley. I don't know if he's going to continue to be out or not. They do miss him a little bit. I mean, Morris he's their backup. Jack Morris, he's okay. He's a solid number 2. He's not quite, and there's a reason he's not the number 1, right? He's not quite as accurate. He's a little bit less of a dual running threat, but when I look at State College, look at who they've lost to, right? Downingtown East, CD East, and Central Dauphin. Nothing that says they're struggling, but they're coming off a huge come from behind victory in overtime against Cumberland Valley on the road. So emotion in high school football really matters. And you'd have to say for the most part right now, State College has it. I mean, their offense can put up some points, but they also give up about the same number of points. So for me, there's points to be had for Carlisle against this Little Lions defense, and that's where they're going to need to flourish. Carlisle has to get theirs. I mean, overall, statistically, the Herds defense has been better, but their non-conference schedule was not nearly what State College's was. So the other thing you have to remember about Carlisle, 2 of their 3 losses are 4-3. They lost to CV and CD, Cumberland Valley, Central Dauphin, too many double digits there. They lost to both of those teams by 3 points. So they believe they can play with these teams now. They need to continue to believe that they can play with these teams. And I think they do believe that now, but now this is the time. They have to win one of these games. I think this is going to be a tight game all the way. Big plays for the Thundering Herd fuel their fire. They can play inside of a, sort of football sandbox, but they roll when they get their athletes in space. and they use that speed to make chunk plays, that's going to be important for them.
Yep. And you mentioned those close games last week against Central Dauphin, for example. What's impressed you about Carlisle's play this year?
They're significantly more sound defensively in 2021. I mean, up front in the secondary, they're much better, and they were much better from the jump. You could see that. But their linebackers have improved a little bit as the season's gone along. So I think they're a more stable team defensively, and that they haven't had to chase as many games, if you know what I mean. They weren't 14, 17, 20 points down and having to chase a game. So I think that's helped them a lot.
Okay, Andy, give us your prediction.
Yeah, give me the Thundering Herd, right? They've knocked at this get over the hump win a couple times, and this would be that. So I'm going to pick them to cross the finish line this time.
All right, let's keep moving. Let's get into the Capital Division where Big Spring takes on Trinity. Andy, help us make up this breakdown.
Yeah, both teams are coming off tough losses against quality opponents, right? Trinity gave Steel High absolutely all it could handle before getting chased down. And Big Spring put up a solid fight against Boiling Springs, and they kept the pressure on the Bubblers. But both squads have solid run games, and they're kind of both will want to pound the ball if possible. But I think Big Spring is the more explosive team. They have the better quarterback in Ethan Eisenberg, a strong arm junior. He's just shy of 1,000 yards this season. And Liam Schmidt is a legit deep threat with speed. He's the fastest guy on the field. But there's a little more speed to Big Spring all around than you might think. And they have that workhorse, right? Dylan Wakefield, that guy is a horse at 215 pounds as a running back. He does not go down on first contact. He just does not. So I think for Trinity, they have to look to get to the edges in the run game, because running inside the tackles on the Bulldogs, that's just not going to be where Trinity has an excess. Big Spring solid up the middle defensively. I think Trinity can make hay in this one a little bit through the air and getting on the edges. Landon Kunzelman, he doesn't throw a ton, but he averages about, 12, 13, 14 attempts a game. His completion percentage isn't all that great. He's thrown some picks. So the thing is, Big Spring secondary is a bit suspect in my book in terms of matchup advantages. I see the Bulldogs, though, as the more complete team right now.
Okay. Andy, give us a key to win for each team. What do they have to do?
Yeah, so for Trinity, it's try and make Big Spring one-dimensional offensively. They're what I call a very modified wing team. They can still throw the ball effectively and just be an effective passing team if they want to or have to, but their offense functions better when they're getting you kind of coming and going and then hitting on those deep shots. I think it's a must for the T-Rocks to make the Bulldogs not be as balanced and to be a bit less comfortable in terms of how they run their offense. That's the best chance, I think, and that is really important for Trinity. And for Big Spring, it's force the issue. Keep Trinity outside of their comfort zone on the scoreboard. Just absolutely, you can do that to the Shamrocks, and it's, I think the onus is on Big Spring to do that.
Sandy, who's your prediction? Who wins?
Yeah, I think I tipped my cap already that the Bulldogs are the more balanced and complete team. I think, both showed well last week, but those were big games against competitive teams, and who can kind of bounce back is going to be an important factor, but I'm going to take the Bulldogs.
Okay, Andy, let's do one more before we get out. Let's go to the Concrete Palace in Hershey, where Lower Dauphin would play host to Redland.
Redland. See, I fixed you again.
My NEPA accent is very evident today.
So Redland's 2-5 overall, right? And here's the thing about the Patriots. They've kind of been in every game so far this year, and all 5 of their losses are by 14 or fewer points. So, I mean, we know who they haven't played if that's the case. That would be McDevitt. But they could easily be a 4-3 or a 5-2 team overall. The fourth quarter and sort of closing out games in which the outcome is sort of like in a 50-50, 60-40 proposition, it has not been good to this squad. They have not done that at all. I think sophomore quarterback Roman Jensen, he's definitely found his groove, and he's becoming a more stable weapon for Redland with each passing week. He completes like above 60% of his passes. He's got 10 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. So he literally powers this offense. Redlands a pass first team, right? They run the ball in terms of their balanced in their play selection, but they function best when the run is working to set up and open up the pass game. That's just the way it is. Lowered offense, they get a tip of the cap from me for being a 500 team at this point. After 6 games, they were literally starting over. So that is worth noting that is a very relevant part of this game. I mean, running back Jacob Kaufman, he's been sensational. Nothing short of that. He's got 100 plus carries. He's averaging 8.6 a tote. He only needs like 115 yards to reach 1,000 on the season in 7 games. Throwing the ball for Lower Dauphin is a bit of a struggle. They have more interceptions and touchdowns, and their completion percentage from Brandon Landis is a bit low. It's in the 40s. They're not built for a track meet. Their offensive line is a key, and they pound the rock. That is how they have success. In this matchup, I give the slight edge defensively to Lower Dauphin, but for me, this is a mix and match game. 2 offenses that function best a little bit differently. Who finds their happy place, right? That's what this game comes down to.
Yep. Andy, we've seen some really positive signs from both of these teams this year. So who is closer to reestablishing themselves as a contender?
For me, it's Redland because they had less distance to travel to get there. And they've been almost painfully close this year. Their losses, when you go back and look at them and look at the games and how they went, you're like, oh man, that's brutal. And I've done that like 3 times this year. Like, ooh, that is brutal. So they had more pieces in place to start with. So in terms of being a next level team, they had significantly less distance to travel than Lower Dauphin.
Okay, Andy, give us your prediction for this game.
Give me Redland, and it's probably going to be a close game. But I think Redland, they can kind of play in the sandbox that Lower Dauphin wants to be in. They've showed that they'll play a sandbox game, and they'll be a willing participant in a let's go up and down the field shootout. So that ability to be a little bit of a chameleon offensively, not always successful in terms of registering wins, but they can play that way. That gives them the edge for me in this one.
Great. Andy, thank you very much. That's welcome. It for this edition of the preview. Get out to see one of these games or another on the slate. Support your local teams and check us out on fourthdownmagazine.com for all of our weekly content. Go Birds!